morning, and welcome back to our Ask the Agronomist podcast Facebook Live, however you want to listen to it. So we are coming to you today at the home farm in Alexander, and some of the crop has been planted here.
Yeah, we're finally making progress. It's a little tacky out here right now, but yeah, we do have a fair share of the corn in the ground, and a little bit to look at. Maybe not quite so much as what the guys in the south I've heard that already got a couple leaves on their corn, but yeah, at least we've got it in the ground. I know a lot of people in this area have struggled, and north have struggled to get it in the ground, so it's just the season we're having,
right.
And that's where we're at. So.
Slowly but surely, we will finish the race.
yeah, we'll get through it, get into beans, and I know a lot of guys are saying they're just starting beans. Most guys are wrapping things up, but that's just where we're at in the season.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a day ago we just got an inch of rain here, and elsewhere we've seen 4 to 6 inches.
Yeah.
I know even up into the South Dakota and so forth have seen large amounts of rain. We can't seem to get away from that.
I know.
I'd love to just have a half inch of rain, but that's not the way it comes anymore. It seems like so. Fortunately, we've only got an inch, which is quite a bit on this heavy ground. But so today it brings up our topic of talking about ponding and saturated soils and corn seedling survival. So how long can a little corn seed actually survive under those conditions? And that's something that comes up every year. Guys always ask. They sit there and they drink their coffee and look out the window and see the pond sitting there like, I wonder if that's alive or dead. So we'll try to answer that question.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe we should do a quick seedling update here. So this was planted last Thursday night. Yeah,
this is right at a week. And so I've mentioned before, typically you see about 100, 90 to 120 GDUs to get it out of the ground. That's it popped up. It's looking good. It's got some good seedling roots on it. You can see there. It's going to come out. It just came through the ground, so you can see that spike, that first leaf coming up, pushing through out of the whorl there. Will come out probably in the next day or two, and then really start to green up.
Yeah, awesome. Life is good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, so what about those farmers who do have their seeds in a pond right now? How long can they hold your breath, for lack of better words?
Yeah, so typically, and we could talk about both. This is a seedling. We have some that are just planted though too, so they're just seeds. But does a seed need oxygen? And yes, it does.
Yeah.
As long as it's germinating, it's a living organism, so it requires that oxygen exchange. The thing you want to remember, I would say the rule of thumb to go by, is to remember where the growing point is. And obviously most guys know at this stage, it's not very far up.
Right.
So depending on where your growing point is and when it gets ponded, that really affects survival and how long it can survive. If your growing point would be above the water, it could probably survive a little bit longer with some later yield and other bigger repercussions, but it could survive longer. At the seedling stage, it's really dependent on how much oxygen is in the soil. So typically that oxygen is depleted in a ponded situation in the first 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
In the first 1 to 2 days, if it's ponded for that whole time, your oxygen is depleted. You also have to remember there's some other things that come into play there. You got to think about all the other processes. When it comes to agronomy, there's never just one thing going on.
Right.
There's a lot going on in the soil. So, the other thing is, guys that have nitrogen down there, obviously, if nitrogen is sitting there in a nitrate form, it's also it's depleting some of that oxygen and unfortunately leaving the soil. And so that's taking some oxygen away. And there's other things that are going to be taking microbes and so forth, taking that oxygen away. So all those things play a part in that. And then the other factor is the heat.
Yeah.
It's going to be 95 degrees this weekend.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's a bad thing, especially for these little guys. So typically a corn seedling can survive around 4 days. That's including that 24 to 48 hour window of depleting the oxygen in the soil. But it can typically survive at about 4 days total if it's cooler.
Okay.
So they say around 77 degrees is that mark, so under that temperature, but we're going to be over that temperature, so you got to remember it could be less than that in a day. That's just the way it works. The heat pushes everything.
Right.
If they get up out of the ground and they start putting leaves on, they're going to start photosynthesizing. They're going to start working. They need oxygen, and that's why you'll see bigger corn plants tend to have a better survival chance, especially if their growing point's above the water level. But if they're a bigger plant, they have leaves up, so they can also exchange some oxygen in the atmosphere at the leaf level instead of just relying on what it's trying to get from the roots.
Okay.
So if you lose all that oxygen in the root zone, there's nowhere else for a little seedling like this to get it from.
Right.
So it has to come from the soil. So that's why it's 4 days probably max in most cases, but the heat is a huge determinant on that as well.
Okay, and then the last thing we have here, let's just touch on diseases quick. How does that all play in?
So anytime you stress the corn plant, corn is from the day that it's planted in the ground, it's got 100% potential there to produce, up to 1,000 kernels an ear. But every little thing affects that, So if the temperature of the soil drops down, there's just everything along the way affects how that plant puts on an ear down the road. So the soil, you'll have seedling diseases, seedling blights, things like that will be a repercussion of being in flooded and ponded soils. The other thing is, if you have seedlings, some guys have seedlings in the 2 to 3 leaf stage or something like that. Maybe the water level's not above that. You'll still have, that dirt unfortunately comes with that water. So that comes in and gets on the leaves and brings some of those diseases in as well. Another interesting thing some guys see later on and are curious about is crazy top. If you've ever seen that, the tassel that leafy and everything. That's something that is caused by ponding. It's caused by that dirt getting down in the whorl area and infecting it, getting that inoculant in there, and then it grows up, and that's what happens to it. So, but yeah, it's going to be set back. There's going to be reduced yield, reduced vigor, no matter what. It's just a matter of how long it survives, if it survives, how long that pond stays there. And with the Memorial Day weekend coming up at 95-degree temperatures, at least around here, that's not necessarily helpful for the little guys that are out there trying to survive under flooded conditions. So.
All right, well, I guess time will tell. For now, we have some nice sunshine and wind, so that's good.
Yep, that's good drying conditions, and hopefully it'll give guys another chance to get back in the field and get things done here over the next week. And hopefully next week we can be talking about, maybe closer to 100% soybeans and corn in the ground.
Yeah.
Not so much this week, but we'll get there.
Time will tell. All right, well, thank you for our listeners for tuning in, and have a good day.